episode 2 of Say Bougie Vegetarian. It's your girl Keisha. So, today we're going to talk about fear of rejection on the series of Traumatized. So, for me personally, as I stated before, my trauma was childhood induced, right? And so, my biological mother just up and left and did not want no longer want to be a mother anymore. So what was out there in the streets, what was out there with drugs, with all the enticement of having fun and not having taking care of your family is what my biological mother decided to do. And so as a little girl, I remembered a lot of things, and I always asked God, like, well, why do I remember so much? Like, this is troublesome for me. Like, I remember glimpses and pieces, and to this day, I can remember waking up in the car feeling afraid, and it was dark outside. And the last thing I remember was that we were driving somewhere, and to wake up and I'm in the car by myself and there's no one else. And then I just remember crying and I'm like, oh my gosh, where am I? Where am I? And it finally dawned on me like, the doors are locked. You can unlock the door and get out of the car. So that's what I did. I unlocked the door and I got out of the car, and she was inside of a house with other individuals. But in that moment, now that I reflect on that, I realize that I felt unsafe because the one person that was supposed to keep me safe wasn't there. And so in my fear, I just cried because that was the only thing I knew how to do because she was not around. And that I would just say went on down a pattern of fear of rejection because I thought that because my mother didn't want me, that the only way I can keep somebody right beside me or to keep them safe is to realize that in order to keep them safe and in order to make sure that they're not going to leave me, I had to make sure I was in control of a situation. And so when I say that I was in control, I don't necessarily mean that I was controlling. I'm like the controlling one in the situation. But what I meant was that I had to plan every detail out. Like, okay, I'm going to do this, we're going to do that. And to make sure, reaffirm that you're not going to leave me, I'm going to make sure that I love you the best way I can. Because I think that's what it was at the time. I felt like maybe I didn't show enough love to my biological mother. Maybe that's why she left me. But in actuality, that was not it. It was sometimes people do things that aren't okay, and that's fine. Sometimes people do things and they mess up, and that's okay. Sometimes people do things that I don't agree with, and that's okay. That's fine. Sometimes some people suffer from their own childhood trauma and they don't know how to process it, and so instead of processing it, they just deal with it, and then it bleeds over into adulthood. And guess what? That is okay. It does not mean that just because she left, that the only way to keep somebody around, I have to make sure I love on them extra hard. And so that's what I mean when I say like I felt like I had to control the situation, because I felt like if I showed them that I love them so much, I know that they won't leave me. In actuality, that was false because of my childhood trauma. I had a fear of rejection, which led to trust issues, and it led me to think I'm not going to open up to you, because if I open up to you, you're going to leave me like my biological mother did. So it took a toll on me. But as I sit on this other side of being traumatized and dealing with the fear of rejection, I understand that my pain was not just meant for me, but it was meant to help others too. So the fear of rejection, it is something that could potentially ruin your life because you feel as if you're the only one that goes through this. In actuality, that's not true, because that is something that the enemy puts in your mind to make you think that as if you're the only one, and that's not true. As I sit here today, I'm telling you that I have had the fear of rejection to the point where it bled into my adulthood because that is something I didn't deal with. And I didn't go to therapy my own self until I was in like my mid 20s. And as I stated before, as I sit on this other side of traumatized, I understand that if we don't talk about the fear of rejection, what leads us to our root cause of fear of rejection, then that means that we're just going to continue the cycle and we're never going to be healed. And no one wants to be in a continuous cycle of being unhealed, because at that point, you don't just do damage to yourself, you do to damage to everyone else. It's a collateral thing. You affect everyone else around you when you don't deal with your fear of rejection. So what is your fear of rejection? What caused you to have that fear of rejection? As I stated, mine was, I felt like in order for me to not lose anybody, I had to control the situation by making sure that I love people extra hard. Because if I love them extra hard, because I know they won't leave me, because I know that's why my biological mother loved me, and it was because she loved me and that I felt like I wasn't good enough. So it will let me turn to making sure that in order to keep you around, I show you love. And so therefore that love kind of turned into people pleasing. And it's just a whole lot of things with the fear of rejection. The fear of rejection can stem from depression, right? You not feeling love, so it's the fear of rejection, and there's depression as well. There's another underlying issue, and I did have that as well. But as I stated before, on this other side of traumatized, of being healed and being healed of fear of rejection, I realized that only one person can love me very true to the point where I understand what that love feels like. Only one person can love me so truly, so dearly. It's only one person, and that is God. And what I learned on this journey of being traumatized and now healed is that the only fulfillment I can get is from God. So that fear of rejection, God is like my child. I'm right here. Come to me. Tell me what is wrong. Tell me all of your pain. Tell me all of your hurt. I understand it happened to you, but guess what? I won't put more on you than you can bear. And guess what? I'm here with you every step of the way. So every time you thought you were alone, little did you know that I was with you every step of the way. I saw you when you cried, because my God, there were times that I cried my eyes out. And I said, well, God, where's my mother? And God has been telling me every step of the way, I have you. I have you, and I have you secured, safe in my arms. But I need you to come to me and cry out. And that's what I did in that moment when I realized, when I came to myself, I realized that the only person that can fulfill me is God. So on this journey of traumatized to being healed, your fear of rejection, just know that, as I stated before, you are not alone. I can attest, and I'm a living witness, that on this other side, it is so much better. But the key to my healing was that I had to surrender to God. I had to realize that God knows what he is doing. He is the author, he is the creator, he is the beginning, and he is the end. And my God, he won't leave me, neither will he forsake me because of my fear of rejection. God is with me every step of the way. So, my friend, your fear of rejection, what is the root cause of it? What I want you to do is get a journal and write down fear of rejection. What is my root cause? And if you can remember the details, put it in there. And at the end of that, what I want you to do is say, God, I give you this. My fear of rejection, God, I give it to you. And God, I want you to heal me from this. And I want you to tell me how God has changed your life, because all it takes is for you to ask God. So in this season, just know that fear of rejection, you can be healed and you will be on the other side of being traumatized. Be blessed, my friends.